All right, so let me introduce Christine Howard. She is a sought-after speaker and innovative business leader. Christine Howard guides women to awaken their radiance, achieve their soul-centered callings, and live fulfilling lives. Fueled by her own transformational heartbreak, she inspires women to take up a new path for living, leading, and achieving as radiant achievers. In addition to coaching private clients, she leads transformational retreats, mastermind programs, and is the creator of the app Radiant Achievers, so we'll all have to get that app on our phone. The author of a newly released book, Soul-Centered Fulfillment, as well as the creative force behind a transformational line of mantra, mindset, moment products, and I had one of those myself. Please, everyone, give a big hand to Christine Howard.
Thank you, everybody. I'm so beyond excited to be here with you today. As I absorb all these beautiful faces. And I'd love to start with a question, as we often do. By a show of hands, who here desires to experience joy and fulfillment while making a difference in their careers and businesses? Yeah, love it. I'm not surprised. And who here has experienced struggle, overwhelm, or self-doubt? Thank you for your honesty and vulnerability. I'd like to first say congratulations on being one of the courageous women. You, like so many others, women we know, Coco Chanel, one of my favorites, Oprah Winfrey, Marianne Williamson, have courageously stepped into their vision. And because we are celebrating Women's History Month today, I would love for us to take a moment to applaud not only these women, but yourself, for you being courageous to boldly step into your vision. Can we do that together?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't turn it off, didn't I? Okay. And here's the thing. At one time or another, we all experience struggle, overwhelm, and self-doubt. The problem is so many women are burning themselves out in how they approach their achievement. They are in this do cycle where they end up buying into an old paradigm that creates, at times, stress-related health issues, impacts to relationships, and worst of all, lack of fulfillment and unhappiness. We have been told a story of achievement that no longer works. It's a story I call strategic achievement. And it's time for us to take a stand for a new way. Are you ready for a new way, ladies?
Yeah.
And gentlemen? Awesome. So I am here today to teach, awaken, and inspire in you how you can be a history maker, achieving your deepest callings, desires, and passions, and do it in a way where your achievement actually brings you joy, fulfillment, growth,
and energy along the way. Does that sound like a good approach? Where you can leave behind the overwhelm and the self-doubt and step into an empowered path that has you creating from a very different place, from the your inner powers. This, my dear ladies and gentlemen, is the path of becoming a radiant achiever. So I am here today to share with you 4 critical shifts you must make if you really desire to embody this new path. And I will be sharing them in a minute. But before I do that, I would love to share a bit about my journey and how I got to discover these powers and embody them myself. So right now, my life is immersed in radiant achievement. It's my work, it's my books, it's my coaching, it's everything. And it's not just my work though, it's how I live. Being a radiant achiever is a way of being for me in every aspect of my life. It's how I live, lead, and achieve. And while I have these amazing synchronistic experiences that happen to me, things flowing to me, opportunities for speaking, for photos, for coaching, all types of things are happening, it wasn't always this way. Just 5 years ago, I was the poster child of strategic achievement. I was over-controlling, overthinking, always changing my mind, and on this hamster wheel, can anybody relate? This hamster wheel of the go, go, go. I was not slowing down for much of anything. It was always the next task. And what happened, I became so disconnected from my true desires and my true self. So inside, I was begging for something to change. I really was. And boy, did I get it. I was gifted, and I truly do believe it was a gift, with 2 significant experiences. The first was a breast cancer diagnosis, which fortunately was very early stage, very treatable. And about 9 months later, the end of my 21-year marriage. Now, at the time, as you can probably imagine, these appeared to be the worst things that could have happened to me in my life, right? My life as I knew it had ended. But really, they became the best thing because they gave me exactly what my soul was begging for, what my heart was begging for, and that was to get back to my authentic self, to get back to that place of joy, to get back to that place of fulfillment. And in my journey of healing, I took time to pause and dive deep and really look at turning over all these rocks in my life. And I faced my hurts, I faced my loss, my fears, my stories. And in this journey, I discovered that there were 3 main things that I had done or had become. And the first was, and they surprised me, and they might surprise you too, knowing, some of you know me now, but is I realized I was not loving myself. Now, I logically did because I lived in my head and I could say, oh, I love you, but I did not embody that feeling at all. So that was the first surprise. Then I realized that I was really looking externally for fulfillment. I had bought into what culture had conditioned me to believe. And it was all out there, it wasn't inside. And then the last thing was that I realized really clearly that my desires, when I did have them, came at the bottom of the line behind everybody else, especially my family. So out of this, I craved and I really dug deep to say there has to be a new way, a better way for me to live. And I discovered in reconnecting with myself inner powers that I had covered over, that I had forgotten, that I had denied for so many years. And these inner powers, in reconnecting with them, I saw a new way. And these are the powers I'm going to talk to you about today, which I call the powers of radiant achievement. And little by little, by embodying these, my life took a 180-degree turn, I'm happy to say. So here I am today with you beautiful, radiant ladies, to share with you, to inspire you, and to awaken in you 4 shifts that are critical for you to make if you desire to step into your empowered path as a radiant achiever. And before I dive into them, I want you to know, I'm on a time limit here, so I have to be really conscientious of my time. And I promise at the end, there will be a way for you to connect with me and this material further. So I just wanted to toss that out. So let's dive in to what these 4 shifts are. The first shift is to have an awareness that being a radiant achiever is your natural essence. It's how you were born. There is nothing new you need to do. It's part of who you are. And in many cases, we just need to let that come out of us, right? We need to awaken it in ourselves. So culturally, we've been taught so many different stories, and we all have these veils and masks, whatever you want to call them. But at your core, if you go back to when you were that little girl who brought her ideas to life, that was open and creative and playful and happy, and things just happened, that's your natural essence. And that's what's possible when you reconnect as a radiant achiever. The second shift really relates to your callings. And as a radiant achiever, your job is to listen to and follow those callings, no matter how insignificant or small they may seem. We have callings in all areas of our life. And if you do a quick scan of your life, you can think of your health, your relationships, your career, your fun activities, your community service, right? And at different times in our life, different parts of our life will ping to us, right? We might really want to have been a mom, or started our own business, or moved to a certain place in the world. Those are all callings. And it's not our job to judge them, it's our job to honor them. Because what happens, no matter how small that calling is, when you say yes, it opens a door. And that door then steps you to your next personal evolution. You have no idea where it's going to lead you, and it's kind of not your job. Your soul is going to guide you if you listen to it, right? And then you say yes, and then that opens the next door. And a year from now, 5 years from now, you will look back and you will say, I said yes to that one thing, and look how my life has unfolded. That's what it's all about. I love Oprah's story, right? If you look at what she's accomplished in her lifetime and where she started, she just kept opening another door and another door and another door. And there's no judgment on what anybody's callings are. It's really what your purpose is here, and you can only do that when you say yes. So stop the I don't have time, I'm too busy, reconnect to what's speaking to you in every area, and just take that one next step. The third shift is to embody the powers of radiant achievement. There are 7 powers, and I'm going to walk through each of them briefly, but make it a little bit of a story about my life. Because in my programs, I will teach you the nuts and bolts. I go through different practices and how to really further embody them. Because with each of these powers, it's not a yes or no. It's like, how much love can you experience? How much love can you feel? It's unlimited, right? When you clear away blocks, then you step into being able to feel and experience and express more love. It's the exact same thing with each of these powers. There's no limit. So I look at being a radiant achiever as a lifelong journey. It's who I am being, right, in my life. So I'm going to tell these powers in a little bit of a story of my life and what I've seen change since I've said yes to embodying these powers. So the first power is called the power of authentic self-worth. And I'll make sure I really delineate. So for those taking notes, and I'm a huge note taker, I love that people will take notes and walk away with this. So power of authentic self-worth. As I shared, I was not owning my worth, and I wasn't loving myself. So what that meant was I was constantly saying, oh, that's not a big deal, it doesn't make a difference, although in my heart I really knew it did make a difference. So as I saw that I was committed to making a shift in my life to standing up for me, I needed to become my own best friend again. I needed to look myself in the mirror and say, I love you. You are worthy. You bring great gifts to this world. And it was uncomfortable at first, but those were some of my baby steps to reconnecting with my worth and loving myself again. And as I did that, little by little, what happened is I became creative. I started to get these little bubbles of inspiration and ideas that were hope for my future. Because I was going through some heavy stuff. So it was just a perfect thing for me to reclaim and own that I am here to make a difference. The second power is the power of mindset. Now, I know in my circle, and maybe for some of you, mindset is huge. We hear this all the time. Your thoughts create your reality. How many of you believe that, or at least partway believe that? Right? Exactly. So I began to become very conscious of the thoughts I was thinking, that self-talk, and even the things I said out loud. And I was not too happy. I was kind of appalled by some of the things I was saying to myself. I constantly said, I'm struggling here, I'm struggling here, I'm struggling here. That was one of my mantras until I became conscious. So in making this commitment to be a radiant achiever and have this new path, I became hyper conscious of every thought, every word that came out of my mouth. And I went through this cleansing cycle, and it's still going on today, of letting go of things that aren't serving me. And then consciously saying, what are those mantras? What are those affirmative statements? What are those beliefs that will move me to that next version of me? And if it's not something that's going to move me to that next version, I figure a way how I can let it go and just see that as an old story. Mindset is huge. The third shift is, or third power, is the power of inner listening. This is one of my favorites because as a reformed overthinker, right, I spent so much time in my head coming up with ideas, strategies, rethinking things. When I got into this practice of inner listening, it was a game changer. Peace, joy, laughter at the things that bubbled up without me putting in any effort. Solutions, next steps, right? I'm an achiever. I want my goals to move forward in my life, and I want to do it in a way, because I let go of it's going to be hard, I want to do it in a way that is fluid and joyful and fun. Inner listening connected me with my intuition, with my higher self, and back with source. I love that time when I just sit and listen and get the downloads. Anybody get downloads sometimes? Kind of fun, right? Right. Okay. The next power is the power of inspired action. Now again, I said I'm an achiever. I love taking action, but I also hated to make a mistake. That was one of my big things. Like, I just couldn't stand making a mistake, hence the overthinking. Well, inspired action, what I find now, because I'm tapped into all of life around me, is I get these intuitive hits to my body, sometimes it's in my head or my heart, for a next step to take toward my goal. And it could be overhearing a conversation. Many times it's from opening an email. At times it is just being out and about and something hits me. So I take, yes, planned actions, I definitely do some of those, but I also receive so many inspired actions where things have moved 3 steps ahead with just, again, very little effort. Because what is this? We want to be in flow, we want to experience joy, and when we allow ourselves to be open to the universe, right, giving us support, it's a game changer. I know, so many of us are great hard workers, and that's beautiful. And there's more. You can achieve more when you have support, right? We have VAs, we have assistants. Let's get some support from the universe. And that is what the inner listening and the inspired action allows you to have. The next power is the power of commitment. Now, this commitment comes in on many levels here. First off, it's committing to my goals, which I was always pretty good at. But even deeper, it's committing to me and the journey of my life and my callings, and letting things unfold in their own time. I have my deadlines, and as many of you know, I have missed my deadlines many times for my book, for other things, launches, and that's okay, because I know it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and I am no longer going to force, right? That push at all costs is not necessary, ladies, at all. So when I am committed, I'm committed for the journey. I'm committed even more so than the result, even more so than the book launch, even more so than the program launch. I'm committed to my own personal evolution. What's the deadline for that? There isn't one, right? It's your life. So take a step back from the screen, and this is what I did. I started looking at the bigger picture of my life, and things started falling into place so much easier when I did that. The next power is the power of reflection. This again, is kind of multifaceted and has had all of them. I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but they all together are really powerful. But when you put them together, it is truly a transformational way to live your life. So reflection at the simplest form is I pause throughout my day to take time to just reflect. And it could be to get the downloads. It might be for me to journal after a meeting, after an event. What went well? What did I notice? What did I learn? What will I do different next time? But sometimes, and it's also to celebrate. I am huge, and I start every coaching session this way. What do you want to celebrate today? Right? Because think about it. We're so focused on that end game, the numbers, the results, the finish line, that we forget to acknowledge ourselves for the steps we're taking, the hundreds and thousands of steps we're taking on the in-between time. So I do, whether it's in my journal or it's just out loud or in my head, I acknowledge the baby steps. And the phone call that I made, the appointment that I made, and even the time that I showed up in that higher level of myself and I didn't get triggered by the situation that would have triggered me in the past, right? Because it's not just about who you are and who I am, what I'm doing, but it's who we are becoming along the way, right? And I think we've heard this a lot, and many of us as entrepreneurs and in our professions, it's not about the business, it's really about your evolution as you go through and expand your business and make it to what you see it to be. So the reflection is huge for that. Acknowledge yourself, celebrate the little steps. And then the reflection is also the course correction. And this is done with compassion and love. You heard me say I hated making mistakes. I'm okay with making mistakes now. It doesn't rattle me. I know I am living so much in the unknown, which is a very fun, exciting, and scary place to live. And so I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my best for where I am right now in my life, in my evolution. And sometimes things don't go so well, right? Have we ever experienced, that didn't go so well. But that's okay, because just like a best friend, what would we do? We wouldn't tell them, oh, you were awful, give it up. We would encourage them. It's the same thing, to look at all these things, the missteps as well as the positive things, as information for our growth, right? Thank you. For our growth. So these things, and even the bad things that happen, the unexpected things, the life-changing things, if you step into them with a perspective of this is for me, this is for my growth and my evolution, not only will you flow through them a little bit faster, but you will be able to get some beautiful golden nuggets that can help you up level to that next version of yourself. And isn't that what we all want? We don't just want the dollars and cents. We want to really fully express ourselves, right? We want to get to that finish line like, woo, all used up. And that's how you can do it, by really stepping into that. And then the last one is ritual. And I'll touch on that just briefly here, because we all have different rituals. And if you don't have rituals, I encourage you. I love to meditate. And I think I could do a whole talk now on meditation. It is such a powerful tool in my life. And being out in nature, just sitting or taking a beach walk, rituals that connect me and nourish me, body, mind, and spirit. So think about, what are those sacred practices that you have or that you can implement that nourish you. And I will say, if you look at where I am now to where I was a year ago, I have so much more energy. The time comment, like who wants more time? I have all the time I need. Like, stuff just happens. I don't need more time, right? It's about showing up fully in the present moment, which then leads to the last shift. And the shift is to understand that now, ladies, is the time to step into being a radiant achiever. Who do you want to be in your lifetime? What do you want to achieve? What is that vision for yourself and your life? When is the best time to create that? Tomorrow? Next week? No. It's now. It's now. It's now in the present moment. And so here's what I want to say about that, is so much energy is wasted, and I'm going to raise my hand here because I used to be one of those people that lived so far in the future or so far in the back that all of my energy, I had no energy to live in the now. So when you really put your energy into a conscious, focused awareness to be present in the moment, you will see and hear all these amazing opportunities that the universe is giving you for new connections, new business, for growth, right? And so I encourage you to step into being a radiant achiever now. Your soul will love you for it. Your heart will love you for it. And to support you in that journey, I have an opportunity for you. I have an invitation for you. I have an invitation for you to join me in an 8-week program, which I would love to take a look at passing out now, if we can do that. Yeah. So at the front of every table is a package like this. If you could take one and pass it around. Okay, so I guess just wrapping it up before I go to the offer, like you all are all already successful, radiant, beautiful women. And again, there's no end to this journey of what you can express and experience. So in joining me in an 8-week mastermind, I'm calling it the Radiant Achievement Mastermind, where you will work on actually embodying these powers even more than you do right now. Because I know many of you now are using these powers. And I'm not here to say you're not, but let's expand that even more and see what magic we can create, what magic occurs when we do that. So the 8-week program, you will become part of what is a growing community of women who are all committed to a new approach for achievement, to really, truly leave behind this old model that we've been taught, we've been conditioned to step into, and choose a new path for yourself. You'll get resources to support you in bringing forth your individual callings. We'll really drill in on that. Gain inspiration to remove blocks from keeping you from living your most radiant life. We all have blocks, and every time we up-level, we're faced with something new. I think it goes from boulders to pebbles, but there's still things we need to address. Ignite motivation to connect more deeply and act upon, right? We do need to step into some action. And most often it's in the unknown, which is a very scary space to do all alone. So do it in a community of caring, thriving women. And then take steps to move you to your next level, which I'm all about, of your evolution and achieve all your soul is asking of. It will be a virtual group. We will meet via Zoom for 8 Mondays. It starts on March 23rd. You'll have individual time. We're going to do some hot seat work, as well as my teachings. Everything will be recorded for you in case you have to miss a session for another commitment. So this investment, it's valued at $795. And as we know, Women's Wisdom members always get the best deals. And today, the offer is $395. And if in signing up today, you will also receive as a free gift a copy of my newly launched book. I call it my mini book, which is a 14-day journey into becoming a radiant achiever. And it's a great little companion that has bite-sized nuggets every day that you can read and take an action to support you in stepping into being a radiant achiever. So ladies, I thank you for your time and your attention and your beauty to be here, listen, absorb, and say yes to being a radiant achiever. Thank you.